outside my window.
Hello, and welcome to The Bard's Truth with your host, the Green Bard. This is Lemongate 2, the house with the red door, closed. So last time we discussed my proof that George R.R. Martin definitely wrote Lemongate into A Song of Ice and Fire, unless he screwed up, and all the Lemongate evidence is George poking fun at himself. For the rest of the series, we will look into why he wrote this mystery into the story. To me, one of the biggest mysteries around Lemongate is, why were they forced from the house with the red door anyway? The only explanation we get from Dany is that Sir Willem Darry died, and then the servants stole their money, and they were forced from the house with the red door forever. I feel like there is more to it than that. This seems highly political. I smell a rat, or perhaps just some mice and their cheese monger. And what happened to those 4 loyal men who helped Sir Willem escape Dragonstone with Dany and Viserys and their wet nurse? Let's not forget the wet nurse. Wyla may not have been significant, but this one may be. Indeed, why would George R.R. Martin mention her at all? But I digress. I'll repeat that many dislike the Lemongate theory because it is connected to unpopular parentage theories. As I said in my first Lemongate video, I think R+L does in fact equal J, and I'll add that I do think Dany is the daughter of Queen Rhaella and Mad King Aerys II. I don't think we need these alternate parentage theories to make Lemongate make sense. I'll stand with U/Holloway Division from Reddit on this, who wrote what I think is the definitive post on the topic in r/ASoIaF, even though he does flirt with the F Dany theory in that post. I'll try to link to it in the episode notes. I also want to point out a video series from Preston Jacobs, well, 3 actually, to set up the first part of this mystery. Preston's Tower of Joy series was an early favorite of mine, but it doesn't really inform much on the series except that I believe Brandon Stark, Ned's brother, was the father of Ashara Dayne's child, although that child is neither Dany nor Jon. I do believe she survived though. We'll get back to that. Preston's Genetics of Dragons and War series was a revolutionary in its time, and I definitely subscribe to the Dragon X theory, mostly. I also think he makes a terrific deduction when he suggests that the skin-changing gene of the First Men, and the Starks, can act as a proxy for the dragon gene. You may want to see my first 3 Kingsblood videos for more on the genetics of the First Men and our principal houses. I'll link the playlist here. I do disagree with Preston on a few points though. Chiefly, I think that he misses the point of all the hints George R.R. Martin gave us about Targaryen genetic history, which he expertly mines. To me, there is one and only one reason for George R.R. Martin mapping out all the genetic history. It was for us to intuit that Dany can birth/hatch dragons because she is double Dragon X. Both her X chromosomes have the dragon gene, making her extra special magically. You may also want to watch my series on Dany and her dragons, where I conclude that not only is Daenerys extra special, but so is her dragon, Drogon. I'll link that playlist here as well. And that brings us to his most recent series concerning Lemongate, Daenerys and the Page of Lies. In this series, Preston talks about Lemongate extensively and makes a ton of great points about the text. However, he misses the mark of choosing to promote the F Dany or fake Dany theory from U/MarkG171. I like Mark, and I think he makes some great points in favor of Lemongate, but I do not think he's right that Dany is a dragon seed or some other sort of Targaryen pretender. She is her mother's trueborn daughter. That is the only thing that makes sense in our greater saga. We'll have to explain Lemongate some other way, and I intend to do just that. One thing that has happened since Preston released all those videos is the revelation in House of the Dragon about Aegon's A Song of Ice and Fire prophecy. The discussion where Viserys I entrusts his rightful heir, Rhaenyra, with the secret that House Targaryen took control of Westeros because of this prophecy is transformative in the series. Take note that Rhaenyra never has the chance to pass this knowledge to her own successors, her brother Aegon II and her young son Aegon III. I want to introduce to you the idea that this is one of the revelations Dany should expect soon in our story, and that may be revealed to her in conjunction with Lemongate and the reasons she and Viserys were deposed from the house with the red door. While Rhaegar clearly uncovered the prophecy, and perhaps Bloodraven before him, Viserys, Dany's brother, was clearly not aware of it, owing to his young age at the time of the death of his parents and brother. One of the most toxic things that Viserys taught Dany is that House Targaryen owned and was entitled to the Seven Kingdoms. This, to me, is the best evidence that he had no understanding of Aegon's prophecy. Dany will have to shed this baggage to be reborn into the hero Westeros needs, not an entitled princess. The revelation of Rhaegar's knowledge to her would be a key to unlock this within her. Rhaegar is unfortunately dead, however. He most likely shared the details of the prophecy with his inner circle: Arthur Dayne, Ashara Dayne, Aelia Martell, Oswell Went, and later Lyanna Stark. Lyanna probably shared some of it with Lord Eddard Stark while extracting his promises. Cerys Arthur and Oswell probably shared it with Gerald Hightower. You would be right to point out to me that all these characters are also dead, and perhaps Rhaegar's secrets with them. However, I have long held that some of these characters are in fact still alive, incognito: Arthur, Oswell, Gerald, and Ashara. And even if George R.R. Martin chooses not to sprout the seeds he's sown about their secret identities, Howland Reed is still very much alive. What does he know of Lyanna's revelations to Ned? That said, let's refocus on Lemongate. One thing Preston gets right in his Page of Lies series is to connect all the events in the time leading up to when Dany is taken away from the house with the red door. Let's list them here, with my additions to Preston's analysis. Doran and Oberyn Martell make a secret marriage pact in Braavos, betrothing Aerion Martell and Viserys Targaryen. At this time, Viserys and Sir Willem probably were in Braavos, presumably while Dany was still in Tyrosh. Oberyn then tries to raise Dorne for Viserys. Jon Arryn visits Sunspear, leading to a supposedly amicable end to that uprising. While Jon Arryn presumably never trusted Varys, Varys eventually learns the details of this diplomatic mission and sets to ruining Dorne's plans. Doran Martell tries and fails to foster the daughter of the Archon of Tyrosh at the Water Gardens. I believe he wanted to eventually betroth her to Quentyn. Doran tries and fails to have his daughter Arianne fostered in Tyrosh, of course, to meet Viserys and Dany. The Sea Lord of Braavos dies, ending Syrio Forel's stay as First Sword. Illyrio negotiates with a Sea Lord of Braavos, presumably the successor to the dead one, who apparently favored the Dornish plot, to purchase Dany's dragon eggs, the same ones that were stolen from Queen Rhaena on Dragonstone by Alyssa Farman. Aegon is hidden away on the Rhoynish poleboat, the Shy Maid, with a cast of characters, many of whom probably have secret identities, including Griff, revealed as John Connington, who is connected to the Golden Company, notorious for supporting Blackfire rebellions historically. Haldon Halfmaester. I will posit that Haldon is none other than Maester Wallace, a Hightower bastard, known to Cresson and Archmaester Walrave. Wallace was the former Winterfell Maester who Barbary Dustin accuses of masterminding the southern ambitions of Rhaegar Stark. Duck, Sir Raleigh Duckfield. Nobody of importance, but possibly a bastard of some Targaryen offshoot branch, given his comparisons to Sir Duncan the Tall, who is probably a dragon seed. Septa Lemore, who I am sure is Ashara Dayne. This, of course, begs the question of how this plot is tied to the mystery of what happened at the Battle of the Tower of Joy and its aftermath. Yandri and Ysilla, the husband and wife, captain and keeper of the Shy Maid, who are orphans of the green blood, salty Dornishmen of Rhoynish descent, who have repatriated to Mother Rhoyne. I assume these two are actually spies working for Doran, although it's unclear as to whether Varys and Illyrio are aware they are spies. The pact binding Illyrio, Jonkon, and the Golden Company is enacted. The Kettleblacks serve here and there in Essos, which I assume to mean they were in the Golden Company. And then finally, Dany and Viserys are ejected from the house with the red door, forced to move from place to place, eventually becoming the Beggar King and a name Dany doesn't want to know. This paints the picture for me. As I suggested in my prior video, I think that Illyrio and Varys' Aegon conspiracy, Doran and Oberyn Martell's vengeance plotting, and Dany and Viserys' ordeal are all interconnected, although the Aegon plot and the Dornish plots are at odds with each other. Putting together these clues, I conclude that Dany and Viserys, although The big house with the red door had not been home for him, according to Dany. We're living in Tyrosh under the protection of the Archon of Tyrosh when the Archon's proposed marriage alliance with Dorne fell apart. It's possible that this fell apart, like Dorne said, because Lady Mellario put a stop to it, but I doubt that. No, I believe that Varys and Illyrio sabotaged that alliance. The Archon probably folded under the dual threat of hot war with Westeros and Robert, plus a cold war with Pentos and Illyrio. This is the revelation that will shatter Dany's world. Illyrio, the man that she has said she owes much, though she never trusted him, was working with the Spider, the man who sent Robert's hired knives after her, and they too were the reason she was ejected from her idyllic home. Learning that she was in Tyrosh, not Braavos, and that Dorne and Tyrosh were working to protect her would certainly be enough reason for George R.R. Martin to bury the connection to Tyrosh. One fact I neglected to mention last time is that Dany speaks with a Tyroshi accent. This wholly fits the idea that her early years learning language, probably with tutors and also local servants and playmates, were spent in Tyrosh. When Dany learns that that was where the house with the red door was, it will give her good reason to trust the messenger and the message. Now, Viserys probably did spend a fair amount of time in Braavos during the time highlighted above. He likely only spent the tail end of the time in Tyrosh, potentially making his way there, running from Illyrio's phantom hired knives, which, of course, little birds whisper in his ear to be Robert's. After that, it would only be a matter of time for Illyrio to sabotage them. When Dany learns this, she will be beyond pissed. She'll be fuming. She'll literally be breathing fire. I don't envy Varys and Illyrio in that moment. This is one thing D&D definitely took from George R.R. Martin's notes. We'll continue next time when we begin to investigate the cast of characters who might be able to reveal this to Dany. We'll also discuss their journeys to where they are now from where they were at the end of Robert's rebellion. In the meantime, I'll ask you this. When was the Tattered Prince exiled from Pentos? Was he related to Sarah Mopatis? Was it around the time Illyrio gained or regained his status as Magister?
Secrets off.
Thanks to all the terrific artists whose work is featured on this video.
Thanks especially to all my family who helped in this series so far.
Outside my window is a tree.
If you enjoy this content, you can also consider supporting us on Patreon.